relying on the charity of somebody else to let me stay with them. Yeah, I was sober. Yeah, I was clean for the most part. You know, I still would smoke weed occasionally. I did acid once. I did mushrooms once. I did the relapse on the meth once. But for the most part, I was clean and sober. And, you know, being clean and sober, that's... People think if, you know... People think that's it. All you gotta do is get clean. And maybe for some people that works. Maybe for some people that really is it. All they gotta do is stop using drugs and they can turn their life around. But for me, when I got clean and sober, I now had to deal with my mental issues. I now had to deal with my mental health, and it was not in good shape, and it had not been in good shape for a long time. And I was insanely depressed, and I was having anxiety attacks, which I had never experienced before in my life. I was having meltdowns. I could not fucking function. I could not get myself to get up and do what I had to do. I could not get myself to go get a job. I could not, you know, I just couldn't. And so I put it off, and I put it off, and I put it off, and I put it off. And, you know, eventually I found something positive to fight for. I eventually started seeing the good in me instead of just the negative. And even though I had let everyone else down in my life and nobody else believed in me outside of my mom and my Facebook friends, but I didn't take their belief to be authentic because they didn't know who I really was. They didn't know who I really was, so I felt like their belief in me was bullshit. But eventually, you know, it's hard to explain. I got to a point where I was like, look, man, I have to change this or I'm gonna die. Either the depression is gonna kill me, or I'm gonna go back to the drugs and the drugs are gonna kill me. And I have to give a huge shout out to my stepmom and my sister and my brother and my sister-in-law, because they had all given up on me, completely, all given up on me. And I was getting kicked out of the place I was staying at, and I went to them for help, and they turned me down over and over and over again. And that's how I know that they had all completely given up on me. But finally I had no other options, and I just showed up with all my shit, and I was like, look guys, I got a job. I start in 2 days. Give me a chance. I promise you I won't let you down. And they fucking did it, you know? They gave me that chance. Literally the only chance, and I knew it, the only chance I was ever gonna get. Ever. Again. And they gave it to me. And it wasn't completely easy. I fucked up a couple times. Nothing too major, nothing too massive. But I fucked up a couple times, and I knew their patience was wearing thin. But you know what? I kept my job. I saved up my money. And I got an apartment. And it's not a great apartment. It's just a shitty little studio apartment, and everyone in my building, would you know it, happens to be a fucking junkie. You know, they're all meth and heroin junkies. But I don't give a fuck. I mind my own business, you know? I keep to myself. I go to work. I do my job. I come home. I I keep to myself. I smoke a little weed sometimes. Sometimes I drink a little bit of the booze. But 75%, I have way more clean and sober days than I have fucked up days. 75% of the time, I'm sober as fuck. And I'm proud of that. And I don't give a fuck if anybody else is proud of it. I don't need people to say congratulations. You know, look what you did. You did something awesome. No, I didn't. I didn't do anything amazing. I didn't do anything phenomenal. I didn't do anything that was harder or more impossible for anybody else to do. You know, I just made the decision. That's all I did, was I made the decision to do what I had to do. I don't believe that addiction is a disease that you're born with. You know, I don't believe that. I personally believe it's a choice. You know, and I'm not a scientist, and I don't know all the science behind it. So I'll give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there are people that are born with a much more addictive personality than others. Maybe you're born and it's much easier for you to fall victim to addiction. You know, I can see that. I can see your genetics or whatever playing a part, your brain chemistry playing a part in your addiction, where it's much easier for you to become an addict. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's your decision to walk away. There's nothing in your brain, there's nothing in your genetics that stops you from making that decision. Nothing but yourself. You cannot blame anybody but yourself. You can't blame anything but yourself. You can't blame your dad. You can't blame your fucking upbringing. You can't blame your friends. You can't blame your fucking genetics. The only person you can blame is yourself. And while I might hate my dad, I might hate the situations that I was in, I might, have a lot of pent-up bullshit, unresolved bullshit from those situations. But at the end of the day, whose decision was it to get clean? Mine. I did what I had to get away from that shit and get my head straight. And it was a long uphill fucking battle. It wasn't just that month and a half. Like I said, I spent months after that putting my mind back together. I mean, I started doing this Positively Insane podcast last December. And if you were listening then, back when I was doing 15-minute episodes, that I wasn't all 100% yet. I'm still not all 100%. Every day I'm working on it. Every day I'm getting better. Back when I started this podcast, I did it more for therapy than anything. But also I did it because podcasts, they did so much to help me in my darkest times that I wanted to repay that favor. I want to get to a point where my podcasts can do for somebody else what Joe Rogan and Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub and Chris D'Elia did for me. I want people who have nothing else to be able to listen to my show one day and have something to hold on to. Because I had nothing other than podcasts and audiobooks to hold on to for a long time. Like I was a razor's edge away from oblivion. But at the end of the day, like I'm saying, you got nobody but yourself to depend on. Fucking nobody. And if you're trying to rely on somebody else to help you get sober or to help you get clean, you've already fucked up. You've already fucked up and you're already going to fail. You can't wait till your best friend's ready to get sober. You can't wait till your best friend is ready to stop using. You can't wait till your fucking parents decide to give you an intervention, you can't put that on somebody else, motherfucker. That's on you. It's fucking always on you. And until you accept responsibility for that, you're going to be fucked up for a long time. You have to accept responsibility that you have made shitty decisions. And it's your fault that your life is shitty as fuck. You can't blame anybody else. And even if other people, I don't give a fuck what has happened to you. I don't give a fuck what other people have done to you. I don't care if you were molested as a child. I don't care if you were abused as a child. I don't give a fuck if you were raped as an adult. I don't give a fuck what has happened to you. Those were all terrible. And I'm sympathetic to your plight. I'm sympathetic to those things that happened. But at the end of the day, it's up to you how you want to let that shit affect you. It's up to you if you want to wallow in your fucking own self-pity and your own bullshit and be a junkie for the rest of your life or an alcoholic. It's all on you, man. It's all on you. It's not your boyfriend's fault. It's not your girlfriend's fault. It's not fucking anybody's fault but your own. Bad things happen to everybody. And it's up to everybody to decide how they let those bad things control them or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a work in progress, man. I haven't figured it all out. Who has? But I'm constantly working. You have to constantly be working. And until you're ready to start working, your life is going to continue to be a shit show. It's going to keep sucking. The only person that can make your life better is you. You can't wait till you find a girlfriend worth fighting for. You can't wait till somebody else, some person decides to come down and save you, rescue you from yourself. No, man. It's never going to happen. Never. You got to do it on your own. Whether it's go to rehab, whether it's just fucking isolate yourself in the middle of nowhere from everybody. Do what you have to. You know what you need. You know whether or not you need rehab or you just need to be away from everybody and everything for long enough. I mean, you know what's in your heart and what it's going to take for you to get clean. And if you haven't done it yet, you just aren't ready to do it yet, or you're still in denial about your ability to do it. But everybody can, man. I mean, it's not that hard. Yeah, it sucks. It's a struggle. But it's not impossible. Nothing is impossible. You know what I mean? I have done this more than once. I kicked meth. I fucking kicked... I can't even tell you how many drugs I've kicked, right? It's not the drugs that were my problem. The drugs weren't my problem. It was my mindset. You know? I was depressed. I was lost. I still struggle with depression. You know what I mean? But I try to find something else to alleviate that. That's part of what I do this podcast for. You can't blame the drugs, man. Blame yourself. The drugs aren't holding you back. It's your mindset that's holding you back. If you want to get clean, you'll get clean. I don't know a single person who genuinely wanted to get clean and sober and didn't do it. That's how easy it is. Sure, it's a struggle. Sure, it's an uphill battle. But every person I know who really wanted sobriety, they fucking found it. They fucking found it. So let that sink in. You know, I dedicate this episode to my friend Jessica Musgrove because she's 12 days clean now. You know, she's made that decision, and I support her fully, and I'm really proud of her for that. I dedicate this to anybody who is living in the world of struggle because I know what it's like. You can get out of it. You can fight your way out of it. I know you can. This is the Positively Insane Podcast. Tune in for more. Head over to my page, Positively Insane Podcast, on Facebook. Just search it in the search bar and give me a like and follow. I love you all, guys. Take care.